Hey, beautiful people of the internet, how are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome to the top 4 best supported frames of all time. So in the game we've got plenty of frames out there. We've got ones that can do crowd control, damage and area of effect, nuke rooms, and of course for the video's sake we have our supportive frames. And unfortunately we do have frames out there that are mediocre at the best, and I like to think of it as frames that we haven't figured out what their uses are yet, because we're either waiting for content or we are waiting for someone in the community to come up with a new build outside of the meta. But that'll never happen, because at the end of the day efficiency is prioritized, because we all have a life outside of the digital world, or we want to play other games with other people. Excuse me. Before I continue with the video any further, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Warframe videos just like this one. Without further ado, let's get this video on the road, shall we? So starting off, our number 4 spot is we have Wisp, aka the ghost freak of Warframe. Now, when it comes to using Wisp, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, in the supportive category, she isn't the most powerful, but that's okay, because thanks to Breach Surge, Wisp is absolutely a behemoth when it comes to dealing tons of damage to enemy. In fact, if you guys have the correct synergies with Breach Surge, you'll be able to go and hit the damage cap no problem. And as for the utilities, here's what she offers. So you can increase in movement speed, your general movement speed, allowing you to finish missions a lot more quicker. You also can increase in attack speed. If you guys are rocking around a melee weapon, you don't know, the faster you can swing your sword, the more damage you'll deal, the more quicker you'll go and kill a lot of these enemies. We've also got these things where, Wisp attaches these Tesla coils onto her allies, including herself, and essentially if the enemies do become close proximity, what is going to happen is those enemies will then be hit with a very high level of electricity, stunning them in place, rendering them useless to go and attack you, which does provide you with a little bit of crowd control. But what makes it even better is that if you guys are running around with condition overload on your melee weapon, you'll essentially deal a lot of damage and just wipe the enemy like it is no tomorrow. And of course we do have the healer support 101, where she has continuous heals, but also on top of the continuous heal, she also provides her allies with a much bigger health pool. In other words, you'll be able to go and take a lot more damage along with the continuous healing. Moving on to our number 3 spot is we have Oberon. And unfortunately I haven't figured out a nickname for Oberon just yet. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them down in the comment section, and of course the one with the most liked, or the one that I feel like is great, will then be used in the video. And of course I will shout you out on the next video when I need to go and use or do mention that particular frame. So here's what Oberon offers. So just like Wisp, he really only offers you continuous healing and also gives you base armor. And what I mean by that is, let's say for argument's sake that you buff your teammates and you will see a shield at the top right that says 700. That 700 doesn't mean 700% of whatever they have, it's a base number of 700. So let's say that your Warframe has 100 armor. With Oberon's buff you're going to have 800 armor. That's what's great about it. And also you're going to have a continuous health regeneration just like Wisp. And that's purely depending on the amount of power strength you currently have. What makes Oberon also great to know is he can actually strip armor when it comes to those heavily armored units. And the way to do it is build Oberon with like essentially high levels of power strength, go up to a group of enemies and activate his 4 and just watch their armor be completely stripped. And it's better than Frost's one in a way. The only downside with Frost's Frost stripping armor is that it's only based off of how long your duration currently is. It's only effective if those enemies are still frozen. But what makes Oberon so powerful to talk about is the fact that it's often called Phoenix Renewal. So if you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I've spoken about Phoenix Renewal plenty of times. Essentially, if you go down under Oberon's healing effect, what happens is that Phoenix Renewal will give you a second chance at life, allowing you to cheat death. However, there will be a 90-second cooldown, and of course if you do die during this period, then what is going to happen is it's game over. The best way to cheat it is to rather, during those 90 seconds, rather play defensive, hide somewhere and all that. Don't play too aggressive until those 90 seconds are up. Once that period is over, then you can play however you feel like it. Just be careful of dying at the end of the day. Moving on to our number 2 spot is we have Harrow, aka the priest of Warframe. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Harrow is actually being used in a lot of Warframe's activity, especially if you guys do need a lot of support. And what makes Harrow so good as a support frame is he is being used in Eidolon hunts. and essentially his role is to go and use Condemn at the right time. And essentially what Condemn does is Harrow will make himself along with his allies assume that they're within the affinity range and vulnerable to any form of damage. And any form of damage that Harrow does take under the effects of Condemn will then be converted into critical chance, allowing you to deal tons of crits onto whatever weapon you have. Even the nuke core, you'll be able to crit or red crit with the nuke core, assuming that you have enough damage to max it all out. And on top of that, Harrow can also provide his teammates with energy, and to do that you just have to activate one of his abilities that allow him to swing his chain around, and the longer he swings his chain around, the much greater his energy channeling will be. Body shots will then get the same amount of energy channel that he did swing, and of course if you guys do kill an enemy with a headshot, you'll then get like 2 times or 3 times the more energy that his base energy was channeled. And of course what makes his other abilities great is the fact that he can also provide crowd control along with utilities such as giving himself along with his allies some more Orby shield. And if you guys didn't know, Orby shield is essentially when your shield turns purple, and you can get around like 4,000 Orby shield depending on how much current shield that you guys currently have. And what makes it great is you get more hit points, and also thanks to shield gating you get a 3-second protection period where you can get yourself out of any sticky situation that may arise. And of course, what would Harrow be without any supportive attributes or any healing attributes? And that would be one of his abilities where essentially when your Harrow shield is maxed out and you got maximum overshield, essentially he has this ability where he sacrifices all of it, so he hits himself with the chain, and as a result he's only going to have a health pool. But what makes it so good is that you'll be able to go and have an increase in rate of fire, reload speed, which makes the game so much fun, but also will heal yourself along with allies within your abilities range. Overall, Harrow is very good frame. I do recommend you guys go and pick him up. He currently does have a prime version. Don't wait forever. Harrow Prime will be vaulted, not in the near future, but like I'd say at least a year from now he could be close to being vaulted, as he's still relatively new. And finally, moving on to our number 1 spot is we have Trinity. And just like Oberon, I still haven't figured out what I'd give them as a nickname. And if you guys would like to name some of these frames in terms of a nickname, then leave your comments down in the section, and of course the most creative one will definitely be used, and of course I will be giving you guys a shout out. Now honestly, when it comes to Trinity and Harrow, it was really difficult to put who would be number 1 and who would be number 2. And one thing I should have stated in the beginning of this video doesn't mean that X Warframe is better than Y frame. It's just 4, 3, 2, 1, and here your supporter frames. So essentially Trinity offers 2 abilities. One is Energy Vampire, and her another ability is called Blessing, where it gives you a 75% damage reduction. Not as powerful as any of the other damage reduction abilities that other frames do offer, however it is definitely worth using, because what makes Trinity so good when it comes to support is how easy it is for the user to go and buff your teammates. Because like Harrow, the one downside to him when it comes to buffing your teammates is especially with the overshield, because we've got a parkour in this game, most of our players will be in the sky, will be a bit difficult to try and give them those overshield, and as a result Trinity just makes that so much easier. So the way that Blessing works, essentially you only have a 75% damage reduction, and more power strength would be pointless. You essentially want to go and add more duration, because the more duration you have, the longer the blessing effect will last. And when it comes to Energy Vampire, so Energy Vampire is an augment, and essentially what this augment does is any form of excess energy that your teammates does receive will then be converted into overshield. And like I said, it's always great to have overshield at the end of the day. And these are 2 completely built, because one, you need to have a lot of duration, the other one you need to have a very minimal amount of duration in order to make it useful. Otherwise there's no point in using an EV if you've got like neutral to max level duration, as it'll be really difficult to go and plant. And one more thing I do want to say when it comes to duration on an EV Trinity is the fact that because the way that EV works, you have to kill your target in order to Energy Vampire other targets. The nice thing about having very low duration is the fact that you can just EV the enemy and kill them, and then move on to the next one and next one and next one without having any form of strain whatsoever. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's video. If you guys have liked the video or it's helped you in any way or form, remember to leave a like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Warframe videos just like this one. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.